Gentlemen, let me ask you a question that most men never say out loud. When you wake up in the morning, does your body feel sluggish? Do your feet feel cold, your energy unsteady, and that confidence you once had in your manhood fading? Many men over 60 blame age. They think the problem is written in their birth certificate. But what if the real culprit was sitting right on your breakfast plate? And what if one small piece of fruit each morning could either protect your circulation or quietly rob you of it? I have met countless men in my practice who thought fruit was harmless. Doctor, I eat healthy. I grab a banana, maybe some orange juice, and I go. But within an hour, they tell me, they feel drained. Their blood sugar spikes, their legs feel heavy, and by evening they are too tired to enjoy life, let alone intimacy. What they never realized was that not all fruits are equal for a man over 60. Some widen your arteries and feed your heart. Others, when taken at the wrong time, can squeeze your vessels and leave your manhood struggling for oxygen. This is the silent trap few men ever consider. Think of your circulation like a morning highway. Every blood vessel is a lane, carrying oxygen and nutrients to your muscles, your brain, and yes, the areas that matter most for intimacy. If the road is clear, traffic flows easily. You feel warm, energized, and alive. But if the road is jammed, if sugar, cholesterol, and oxidative stress are blocking lanes, then the highway clogs. Blood can't reach your legs, your pelvis, or your heart the way it once did. And that is when fatigue, weakness, and frustration take over. The tragedy is that many men unknowingly create traffic jams every morning with the very foods they thought were helping them. Let me tell you about George, a 65-year-old retired mechanic I worked with. Every morning he grabbed a banana and a glass of boxed orange juice. Quick, simple. He thought it was healthy. But he came to me embarrassed. His energy was collapsing by mid-morning. He could barely walk half a block without cramping in his calves. And in the bedroom, nothing responded the way it used to. His doctor told him it was age. He didn't believe it, and neither did I. When we looked closer, we saw the problem was his morning fuel. That fruit routine was spiking his blood sugar, lowering his nitric oxide, and leaving his arteries stiff. He was feeding the traffic jam without knowing it. Here's the truth most men have never heard. Fruit is medicine, but only if you choose the right kind. Certain fruits contain powerful compounds, anthocyanins, polyphenols, vitamin C, natural nitrates, that open your arteries, cool inflammation, and protect nitric oxide, the molecule your body needs for strong blood flow. Others, especially high-sugar juices without fiber, do the opposite. They flood your bloodstream, damage the delicate lining of your arteries, and make circulation worse. One protects your heart and manhood. The other strangles them quietly, one morning at a time. So here's the question every man over 60 must ask himself. Which side of the fruit are you on? The healing side or the harmful side? Are you protecting your circulation or letting it slip away without realizing it? Because the first hour of your day is the most powerful. What you eat then sets the tone for the entire day. Feed your arteries the right fruit, and blood flows freely to your heart, your brain, and your manhood. Choose wrong, and you spend the rest of the day fighting fatigue, poor confidence, and the nagging thought that maybe you are just getting old. You are not just getting old. You are running the wrong fuel. And today, we are going to change that. In this video, we are going to uncover 5 specific morning fruits that science has proven can protect your heart and your manhood after 60. These are not exotic superfoods. They are simple, affordable, and probably already in your kitchen. But the difference they make when eaten at the right time and in the right way can feel like flipping a switch. Clearer blood flow, warmer hands and feet, more energy in your step, and yes, a renewed sense of confidence where it matters most. So stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I will show you exactly which fruits belong on your plate tomorrow morning if you want to feel strong again. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you will never look at your breakfast the same way again. My name is Dr. Lily Anderson. For more than 2 decades, I have worked as a physician and nutrition specialist, guiding thousands of men through the challenges that come after 60. I have sat across from men who felt defeated, who believed their best days were behind them, and I have watched their faces change when they discovered that the body still listens. It still responds if you give it the right tools. My approach has never been about handing out prescriptions as a first solution. Pills can mask symptoms, but they rarely repair what is broken. What I have seen again and again is that real healing begins with what we place on our forks each morning. Food is not just fuel, it is information. It tells your blood vessels whether to stay open or to tighten, whether to repair or to decline. And the most overlooked medicine of all is often the simplest: the fruit on your breakfast plate. Now, you may have heard advice before. Eat more fruits and vegetables, cut back on sugar, avoid processed food. But what no one told you is that certain fruits carry a unique power for older men. They contain compounds that directly boost nitric oxide, protect the lining of your arteries, and reduce the silent inflammation that squeezes circulation down there. These are not general health tips. These are targeted, science-backed strategies to help your heart beat stronger and your manhood stay alive. In this video, I will walk you through 5 specific morning fruits that every man over 60 should consider adding to his routine. These are not rare or expensive. You will not need to travel across the world or spend hundreds of dollars. They are sitting in American grocery stores, affordable and ready to use. Each of them has been studied in clinical trials. Each of them has real evidence showing improvement in blood flow, blood pressure, and vascular function. And when combined with the timing of your morning meal, their effects multiply. I promise you this: by the time you finish this video, you will know exactly which fruits to eat, how much, and why they work. You will hear the stories of men like you who made these changes and felt real improvements, and you will understand the science in simple language that makes sense. No judgment, no complicated jargon, just clear, practical steps you can use tomorrow morning. The goal is not perfection. You do not need to overhaul your entire diet overnight. You need to take one step, one piece of fruit, one morning at a time. Small actions create big changes when repeated daily, and your circulation, your confidence, your vitality will follow. So let's begin. In a moment, I will introduce you to the first fruit, a ruby red powerhouse once prized by ancient kings, now confirmed by modern science to be one of the most effective natural ways to protect your arteries and restore blood flow where it matters most. Let's begin with a fruit that looks almost royal in its deep red glow, the pomegranate. For centuries, ancient kings and warriors believed this fruit carried a secret of strength and stamina. They didn't know about nitric oxide or antioxidants, but they knew something happened when they ate it. They felt stronger, more alive, more capable. Today, modern science has caught up with that ancient wisdom, and the results are nothing short of remarkable. Pomegranate seeds are loaded with polyphenols, special plant compounds that act like guardians for your blood vessels. One group in particular, called L-glutanins, has been shown to increase nitric oxide production in the body. Nitric oxide is the molecule your arteries rely on to relax and open. Without enough of it, circulation slows, arteries stiffen, and blood flow to the heart, legs, and yes, the pelvic region becomes restricted. With more of it, blood flows smoothly, oxygen reaches every tissue, and vitality returns. Now, why is pomegranate especially important for men over 60? Because as you age, your body produces less nitric oxide naturally. The enzyme that creates it, endothelial nitric oxide synthase, becomes less active. That's one of the reasons morning stiffness fades, energy declines, and the cardiovascular system struggles under stress. Pomegranate doesn't just supply antioxidants, it directly protects and amplifies the nitric oxide you still have. It's like turning up the volume on a speaker that was fading. In one clinical study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, participants who drank pomegranate juice showed improved blood vessel diameter within just 30 minutes. That means their arteries were wider, blood was flowing more freely, and the effect was measurable. Another study found that daily pomegranate juice improved blood flow in men with significant cardiovascular disease, lowering blood pressure and improving markers of vascular health. These are not vague promises. These are real, documented shifts in circulation. I remember a patient of mine, Edward, a 68-year-old retired bus driver. He came in frustrated with cold hands and feet, sluggish energy, and, though he didn't want to say it at first, a growing difficulty in the bedroom. He had tried vitamins, he had tried cutting down on coffee, but nothing seemed to help. Together, we looked at his morning routine. Toast, margarine, coffee. That was it. I suggested he add just 4 ounces of pure pomegranate juice with his breakfast 3 times a week. Not sweetened blends, not juice cocktails, but 100% real juice or a handful of fresh seeds. 3 weeks later, Edward returned with a smile. He told me his hands felt warmer, his morning walks were easier, and, his voice dropped a little, he felt more responsive with his wife again. It wasn't magic. It was simply his circulation waking up, his arteries becoming more flexible, and his tissues finally receiving the blood flow they had been missing. So how can you use pomegranate in your morning routine? The simplest way is juice. 4 to 6 ounces of pure, unsweetened pomegranate juice is enough to see an effect. If you prefer, you can sprinkle the seeds onto your oatmeal, mix them into yogurt, or blend them into a morning smoothie. The key is consistency. A few times a week at the start of the day when your blood vessels are most ready to absorb the benefits. There are a few cautions. If you are taking blood thinners like warfarin, talk with your doctor before making it a daily habit, because pomegranate can interact with how those drugs are metabolized. If you have sensitive teeth, rinse your mouth with water afterward, as the acidity can erode enamel over time. But for most men, pomegranate is safe, powerful, and deeply restorative. Think of it this way. Every morning you choose pomegranate, you are giving your arteries a shield. You are protecting nitric oxide from being destroyed by free radicals. You are helping your blood vessels stay flexible instead of rigid. You are making it easier for blood to reach your heart and your manhood. And you are telling your body, I am not done yet. I still have more life to live. This is why I call pomegranate the ruby red protector. It doesn't just taste good, it works. And it could be the very first step you take to rebuild your circulation from the inside out. Now that we've seen what a handful of seeds can do, let's move to the next fruit on our list. Small, dark, and often overlooked, but scientifically proven to open arteries and give your energy back faster than almost anything else. The blueberry. John was 68 when he first walked into my office. A retired firefighter, his handshake was strong, but his eyes told a different story. He carried himself like a man who had once been powerful, decisive, and full of stamina. Yet now he looked weighed down by something he couldn't quite say. At first, John spoke about his legs. He told me that his evening walks around the neighborhood had become shorter and slower. Doc, my calves just tighten up. Feels like the blood isn't getting there. He admitted that his feet were often cold even when the weather was warm, but then he paused, shifted in his chair, and lowered his voice. And in the bedroom, things don't work like they used to. My wife says it's okay, but I can see the worry in her eyes. I feel like I'm letting her down. Like many men his age, John assumed this was inevitable. He blamed time, genetics, and a body that had simply given up on him. Yet as we went over his daily habits, one pattern stood out clearly: breakfast. Every morning for the past 20 years, John had followed the same routine: a slice of white toast, butter, and a large cup of coffee with sugar. Sometimes he added a banana or a glass of boxed orange juice, thinking he was being healthy. To him, that was enough. To his arteries, it was a slow squeeze. I explained that his morning meal was not feeding his circulation, it was starving it. The toast and sugar were spiking his blood glucose, damaging his blood vessels. The lack of antioxidants meant his nitric oxide was being destroyed before it could do its job, and the banana and orange juice, though not inherently bad, weren't enough to protect his arteries from the daily traffic jam building inside them. Instead of giving him a prescription that day, I gave him an assignment. I asked him to change just one thing: his breakfast. 3 times a week instead of toast and sugar, I wanted him to prepare a simple bowl with blueberries, a spoonful of Greek yogurt, and a sprinkle of pomegranate seeds. On the other days, I encouraged him to have kiwi slices with oatmeal or a handful of grapes with his morning tea. Nothing complicated, nothing extreme. Just fruit that science has shown can support circulation in men like him. John looked skeptical. He chuckled and said, "Doc, you think a handful of berries is going to fix my legs?" I told him, "Give it 6 weeks. Let's see what your body says." When he returned, the difference was written all over him. He walked into the room with a spring in his step and a grin that I hadn't seen before. He reported that his evening walks no longer ended after 10 minutes. He could go nearly a mile without that burning, cramping sensation in his calves. His hands and feet felt warmer. His energy during the day was steadier, without the mid-morning crash he used to dread. And with a shy smile, he said, "My wife noticed the difference before I did." It wasn't a miracle. It wasn't overnight. It was biology responding to nourishment. The antioxidants in the blueberries were opening his arteries. The polyphenols in the pomegranate were protecting his nitric oxide. The vitamin C in kiwi was strengthening his blood vessel walls. Together, these small changes turned his breakfast from a silent saboteur into a daily repair kit. For John, the transformation wasn't just physical, it was emotional. He told me, "I thought I was too old to change, but now I feel like myself again, strong, capable, alive." His story is not unique. It's the story of countless men who think age has stolen their vitality, when in reality their breakfast has. And if John could turn things around at 68 after decades of the wrong routine, imagine what could happen if you started tomorrow. Now let's step back and make sense of what is really happening inside your body. Because when you understand the why, these morning fruits are no longer just food choices. They become medicine you can trust. Think of your blood vessels as a long system of garden hoses stretching through your body. When you are young, those hoses are soft, flexible, and wide open. Water, or in this case blood, flows easily. But as the years pass, those hoses stiffen. Debris builds up inside. The lining starts to crack and lose its ability to expand. The result is a system that can no longer deliver enough water to the flowers at the end of the garden. And those flowers are your muscles, your brain, and the very tissues that give you confidence as a man. The secret molecule that keeps those hoses open is called nitric oxide. Your body produces it naturally, and its job is simple. Tell the blood vessels to relax and widen. That's how oxygen-rich blood reaches every corner of you, from your heart to your toes to your manhood. But after 60, your production of nitric oxide can drop by half or more. That means the hose is no longer opening when it should. Circulation slows, and you start to feel it as fatigue, cold extremities, or weak performance. Here's where fruit plays its role. Certain fruits carry compounds that either boost nitric oxide production or protect it from being destroyed. For example, pomegranate polyphenols act like a shield. They prevent free radicals, those unstable molecules, from stress, poor diet, and aging, from breaking down nitric oxide too quickly. Blueberries contain anthocyanins, natural pigments that encourage your blood vessels to stay flexible so that nitric oxide can actually do its job. Grapes add resveratrol, which not only protects the lining of your vessels, but helps your arteries act younger than they are. Kiwi, with its high vitamin C, rebuilds collagen in vessel walls, keeping them elastic and strong. And watermelon, rich in citrulline, feeds your body the raw material to make more nitric oxide in the first place. It is not one pathway, it is many. Fruits work from different angles, protecting nitric oxide, repairing vessel walls, reducing inflammation, and supplying antioxidants that clean up the mess aging leaves behind. And when you combine them, the effects multiply. It's like repairing the hose while also turning up the water pressure and clearing out the blockages all at once. Some men ask me, why not just take a pill? That is a fair question. Prescription drugs for circulation, like PDE5 inhibitors, work by forcing the blood vessels open temporarily. They can be effective, but they don't fix the underlying problem. It's like taping up a leaking hose instead of replacing it. Fruits, on the other hand, give your body the raw materials it needs to repair itself. They don't just force the vessel open, they help restore its natural ability to open on its own. That is why the changes you feel from food are not only real, but sustainable. And here's the part most men find empowering. The improvements can happen fast. Clinical studies have shown that even a single serving of blueberries or pomegranate juice can improve a measurement called flow-mediated dilation within hours. That means your arteries are responding almost immediately. But the real power comes with repetition. Each morning you repeat the habit, you are training your blood vessels to behave more like they did decades ago. Over weeks and months, the improvements stack, and you regain not just circulation, but resilience. So the science is not complicated. You are not broken. You are simply running low in the molecules and the nutrients that kept your circulation strong in your younger years. By choosing the right fruits each morning, you are filling that gap. You are telling your arteries, stay open, stay flexible, keep the blood moving. And your body, even at 70 or 80, is still listening. I want to pause here and remind you of something important. At this point in life, it is easy to believe that change is no longer possible. You might look at your age, at the medications you take, at the years of habits behind you and think, it's too late. But I am here to tell you that it is not. Your body has not given up on you. It still responds to every choice you make, even the smallest ones. I have seen men in their 70s and even 80s feel their circulation come alive again. Not because they overhauled everything overnight, but because they started with one simple step. A spoonful of seeds on their oatmeal, half a cup of blueberries 3 times a week, 4 ounces of pomegranate juice with breakfast. Nothing dramatic, nothing extreme, just consistent small actions that stacked up into powerful results. Let me tell you about Charles, a 72-year-old grandfather who came to me after years of feeling hopeless. He had given up on intimacy, given up on long walks, given up on the idea that his body could still surprise him. He thought the only option left was to accept decline. But we didn't start with a strict diet or a complicated plan. We started with half a kiwi every morning. That was it. 2 months later, Charles was a different man. He walked into my office with color in his face, warmth in his hands, and a lightness in his step. More importantly, he told me, for the first time in years, I feel present with my wife again. What changed? Not his age, not his genetics. What changed was his decision to feed his arteries instead of starve them. This is the power of small beginnings. You do not need to do everything at once. You need to do something and repeat it. Your body builds momentum from these small daily wins. Each time you make the choice, you are laying a brick in the foundation of your health. One fruit at a time, one morning at a time. So I encourage you, start tomorrow. Pick just one fruit from the ones we've discussed. Do not worry about being perfect. Do not worry if you forget one day. Perfection is not the goal. Consistency is, and the reward is not only stronger circulation, but the return of something greater, your sense of control, your confidence, and your belief that your story is still being written. You are not too old. You are not too late. Every morning is a chance to turn things around. All you need is the courage to begin. If this message spoke to you, then you already know what to do next. Do not let this just be another video you watched and forgot. Let it be the start of a new morning. Tomorrow, when you wake up, make a choice that tells your body, I am still here and I still care. Maybe it is a handful of blueberries. Maybe it is a glass of pomegranate juice. Maybe it is half a kiwi with your oatmeal. Whatever it is, let it be a step toward reclaiming the circulation, the energy, and the confidence you deserve. And if you found hope in these words, I ask you to do one more thing. Share this with someone you care about, a brother, a friend, a neighbor. Too many men suffer in silence, convinced that their decline is inevitable, but it is not. Your story, your experience, your action might be the reason another man decides to try. That is how communities grow stronger. One honest conversation, one act of encouragement, one shared video at a time. I also want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, which fruit will you try tomorrow morning? Will you choose pomegranate, blueberries, grapes, kiwi, or watermelon? Your answer is not just feedback. It is accountability, a small promise to yourself and to others that you are taking action. I read every message, and I know the courage it takes to speak up. If you want more guidance like this, subscribe and stay connected. Each week, I bring you science-based strategies to protect your heart, your manhood, and your vitality after 60. Together, we are rewriting the story of aging, one morning at a time. Remember this, your age does not define your strength. Neglect does. The moment you choose to fight, to feed your body what it needs, you begin to take back ground you thought was lost forever. You are not done. You are not broken. You are simply waiting for the right tools, and those tools are within your reach, starting tomorrow at your breakfast table. Take action. Take care. And never stop believing that your best days can still be ahead.